you?
Oh, no. I am a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a girl who took the best photo of my life last night. Actually, you took that photo. So that's what I've been thinking about. I am from Montana, so I love the great outdoors. And I am 5 feet and 4 inches tall.
Very cool.
I work in marketing to make money to spend on things like thrifting and going on trips. And I like to eat food and cook food. And I like to drink wine with my friends.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else do other people normally say? Could I get deeper?
What did...
I do think it's important that I took the best picture of my life last night.
I actually really would like to see that picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that tweet that's like, I really need like a blurry candid photo of myself at a party
Yes.
that like obscures my weird face but shows my joyful personality?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. I'm smoking a cigarette in it. Oh, that's another thing about me. I love a drunk cigarette. I'm known for it, in fact. And I'm trying to think about how to share it with the world without my family knowing that I smoke cigarettes.
Could you do like a block situation where you block them from the post?
Can you do that?
You can on Facebook. I don't know about Instagram.
It's not going to go on Facebook.
But if they're not on Instagram.
I mean, you could do like
They
your
are
close
on
friends on Instagram, but that's like not as fun.
Yeah, so one idea was to block my family, which I don't feel comfortable doing.
It's an option.
The other is to just put it as like my first photo on my Hinge profile.
But then like your friends don't get to see it.
I could just text it to all my friends.
That's true.
You could
Look at
do.
me.
I should have sent that one to the group chat.
No, the one you sent was good. I'll share that one too. We can cut to that.
You could just put in the caption, "Holding this for a friend," and then that covers it.
That's
Covers
a
your
good
bases,
one.
and then you can share it with everyone, so everyone gets to see it.
Yeah.
My friend Eliza said I could just caption it. It's a metaphor.
Oh,
Like from The Fault in Our
yeah.
Stars. Or her fiance told me I should just Photoshop like a big fake cigar over it or something.
There you go.
Which I thought was really funny. I do think that there's stuff about me that I'm forgetting, but
What do you like to do? Like, let's say you get done with work. What do you like to do after work? What's your day look like?
often I will rot, depending on the day. If it was a long day at work, I might just come home and rot and like watch Bon Appetit cooking videos, which is what I've been doing a lot lately. Or I'll go to yoga. We were into boxing for a minute. I really miss boxing. That was really fun. And sometimes I will cook like a nice dinner for myself. Sometimes I'll have butter noodles. And it just depends on, again, how long the day was at work. So, yeah.
Girl dinner.
Girl dinner. Sometimes you just need something
Sometimes you just need
really
noodles.
comforting, and you need butter noodles. So.
We were just talking about how, like, if I don't have the accountability of, like, if Isaac's out of town, I'm like, well, am I going to have dinner tonight? Or am I going to scavenge? Or just, fall asleep? Who knows?
Just
It could
many
be
snacks.
anything. Yeah.
Am I just gonna eat a bunch of snacks, or am I gonna have noodles?
And then have a tummy ache.
No protein. No protein in sight.
No.
One thing that's for sure is I will end up with a tummy ache after a night like that.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. So worth it. Ooh, also another thing that I do after work a lot is I take a bath almost every night because it's very relaxing.
Really?
I love baths.
What's your recipe for the bath?
I just do the hottest possible water and then a bunch of Epsom salt, like eucalyptus Epsom salt. It's very relaxing.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
That does sound nice.
I started this after I went to a cycling class with
You
Christine,
almost died.
and I almost died. I couldn't walk for like a week, and so I was like, I need a solution, and so Christine told me to do Epsom salt bath. It didn't really help that much, but I think it was maybe like I have to try something because this is horrible. But it did develop a nice habit for me. So now I sleep better because I am so relaxed before bed.
That makes sense.
That sounds nice. Do you read when you're in the tub, or just
Do you bring a glass of wine?
lay there?
I don't bring a glass of wine. I sometimes will light a candle, but sometimes it like kind of turn off like the big light, but sometimes it kind of feels like I'm doing like a seance if I do that. So I get a little freaked out. So I usually leave the big light on.
Yeah, I would get a little scared in the bathroom. I was just
Yeah.
talking about that with someone where I was like, do you get freaked out if you turn out the bathroom light before you leave and you can't find the door handle?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no,
It's like
she's gonna
I
get
feel
me.
like a trapped rat or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I do read in the bathtub, but I have a Kindle. I did drop my Kindle into the bathtub.
That's
I
my
know.
fear.
So
Is it dead?
it is dead. And
Wow.
so Christine again, had one that got all scratched up this summer, and then she also lost the same one, but then it was found, but she had ordered a new one. So I said, can I please buy your old Kindle that's all scratched up off of you since you have a new one? And then she just gave it to me for free because she's such a good friend.
Oh.
Wow.
So now I have a working Kindle, and I'm much more careful with it in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
They're-
always scared of.
Slip. Like they're just
They're very small.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I did read.
Sleek.
They're sleek. I did read Onyx Storm in the bath. Not yesterday, but the day before.
Where are you at?
75% of the way done.
Wow.
So check on me
Wait,
in
did
like
you
a
finish
day.
it?
I did.
Jacqueline's already done.
I'm dying. I need to discuss about it once we're all
Yeah.
at the finish line.
Christine's done too.
Yeah.
So you guys can talk about it.
Yeah.
It was funny. I think the day it came out, Isaac and I were in the office, and and he was like, "She's probably reading," and I was like, "Has she finished the book yet?" And then he like called you, and you're like half done or something.
I don't have the physical copy, but it's a pretty
fair.
hefty book.
It's a lot. I need to go back and reread stuff because, like, I feel like I go too fast and then I'm trying not to skip ahead, but my eyes just look ahead.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice, so I think I need to go back and reread it. But I wasn't reading during work. I was waiting on a deployment, and I read during lunch, and I read after work. There was a lot. I skipped going skiing.
Good clarification. Very good.
Yeah.
I do love a lunch break where I just lay on the couch and read and like don't eat lunch.
Yeah.
I literally walk from my desk to the couch, lay down, read for like an hour, and then walk back to my.
It's beautiful. It's a good balance.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a different screen. My brain's working differently.
And then grab a snack and walk back to
Yeah.
my
You're like,
Girl
I'll
lunch.
eat at the
That
desk.
is girl lunch. Lay on the couch for an hour and then have a snack.
Yeah.
Yum.
It's a universal experience.
Yeah.
How did you make it to Boise? What brought you to
Oh,
Boise?
good question. Okay. This is actually a whole story. Do you want the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to do brief. So I was living in Billings, Montana, the gem of the West, as they call it. Just kidding. No,
Yes,
it's
I'm always hearing
not what it's called. I call it the blue collar capital of the world, so it's naturally my worst nightmare. But I was living there doing an internship at this nonprofit, having a really great time. Part of that nonprofit like internship experience is they send you on like this exposure trip to like somewhere in the world to see like what is happening with like world missions, because it's like a faith-based internship. And so we went to Tajikistan, which is like also a very long story, but there was like a connection that my boss had there with some people, and I had also been at that time kind of toying about like around with where I was going to move after the internship, because it's not like you don't stay there, and also I was ready to get out of Billings. And so I had like thought about Boise originally when I was planning where to go to college. So I visited here once. My sister lives in Idaho, so it was like kind of on the radar a little bit. So I was like thinking about Boise maybe. I was also thinking about like San Diego and like North Carolina. So there was really no real direction. But then I went to Tajikistan on this trip, and one of the guys on this missions team his name was Teddy actually, which is hilarious. It's my cat's name. I did not mean to name him after him, but maybe it all comes full circle. But I was talking to Teddy. He had lived here for like a few years, and we were like on a bus coming back to like the city from this like mountain village we were in for a few days, and I was like kind of throwing out the fact that I'm looking for somewhere to live and asking how he liked Boise, and he said he really liked it. I can't remember exactly like how the conversation went, but basically on that bus ride, I remember being like, I'll just move to Boise. So that was crazy. It took me going to Tajikistan to identify which of the cities I was going to move to.
That is crazy.
And he actually also worked at the nonprofit that I ended up working at when I first moved here. And so I moved here in July of 2022. So I've been here like 2.5 years. And I love it.
How did you come to land in your current job? Because you've had a couple jobs since you've been here, right?
Yeah. So my boss at the internship, he knew some people here. He had been on the board of the nonprofit that guy had worked at, which was like also a very random connection. And so he like kind of hooked up the job situation. I started working at this like property management company. Hated it. I am happy to have that on the internet. You do not have to cut that. Hated working there. I worked there for like 3 months before I told them that I would not be staying for longer than 6. Then I moved to like the sister company, which was the nonprofit, which was affordable housing nonprofit. I liked it, but was like also kind of miserable. And then our friend Garrett, that we know from church, he works at Roundhouse, and he was like, knew that I was miserable at work and they were hiring for this marketing position. And so he texted it to me. I probably spent like no less than 8 hours collectively talking to him and Christine about like what I should do, if I should apply, if I should take this job, whatever. And so I finally applied. The interview went great and I decided to take the job, and I'm so glad I did. I've been there for a year. First job I've had for a full 12 months.
Whoa.
As an adult, which is exciting.
A milestone.
It is a milestone. It feels very mature of me. But yeah, I really like it. And so now I'm in marketing for property management. I did not realize when I graduated college that I would be in the property management world for my career, but it kind of just happened, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And I make a lot more money now. So.
Was your degree in marketing?
No, I studied business management. I thought the marketing kids were all weird because they were like still in the business college, but they were like a little more like funky, creative.
Like the artsy ones.
They were like the artsy ones, but like still businessy, but like more artsy. And it was so funny because when I would go into like a marketing class, because I had to take a few, it would be like literally the people, like the colors that people were wearing were like brighter. It was like a more colorful classroom. And then I would go back to my management classes and everyone was in more muted tones. And I was like, this is depressing. And then don't even get me started on the accounting classes.
Oh.
God.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Just shades of gray.
Just gray and sadness.
everything. It's like you're looking through
like they're always dark
glasses.
Yeah.
Make everything gray.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I love marketing. I actually wish I had studied it. I have like a pretty natural like affinity for it, and I wish I hadn't been so judgmental of the marketing kids because they were onto something. But it's okay. My business degree or my management degree got me to where I am today, so I'm grateful for it.
Did that come into play whenever you were discussing with Roundhouse? Like, were they curious about your background, like as far as not being in marketing, or how did that transition work from whenever you went from like having that business management background into marketing? So
the transition was kind of like so the first job I had in Boise was just like I was like an executive assistant, and then when I went to the nonprofit, I was the operations and outreach manager. So I was doing like a little bit of business management stuff, but then I was also doing like donor outreach, which is very similar to marketing. So I was doing like some graphic design, like a lot of communication stuff, like some PR stuff. And so that is the experience that I was able to like present as my qualifications for my new job. I remember when I interviewed for my job at Roundhouse, she had my now boss like had a bunch of my stuff like printed out that I designed for Leap. And so she was like looking through it during our interview, and I was like, I'm really stressed out by this, but it got me the job. So, also Garrett had shown her the ham party invitation that I made for the party last year. That was because it happened like a week before I started. No, he showed her like a few weeks before ham party, which was about when I was interviewing. So, but yeah, she said apparently she was like, oh, she has taste. So maybe my ham party invitation was what got me the job. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So what does the day-to-day look like in your job?
Okay. In my job, so lately it's been like a total kind of like trying to keep my head above water situation, but we just hired a new marketer. So now it's, instead of just me and my boss, we have a third lady who's working with us, and she's starting in February, so I'm really excited about that. Garrett said that we should rebrand to the Hot Team, because she's also hot, and so are me and my boss, obviously. And so
the hot girl team.
And I said, I think it would be pretty off-brand if the marketing team hired an Uggo. So sorry, you can cut
must
that
have bad taste.
Part of the criteria.
Literally. Well, I mean, at least they have to be able to take care of themselves. You know, that's
present well.
Yeah. Okay, what does a day in my life look like at work? I don't go to a lot of meetings lately, which has been nice. But what I do, so Roundhouse has like 40 properties, like apartment communities that we own or manage for other clients. So we manage all of the ones that we own with like a few exceptions, and then we also manage ones that other people own. And so my job is to like make sure that, or like help the on-site teams like lease their apartments. So I need to like support them in that effort. So that's like a lot of things, like I have to like make website edits all the time that are like, what's their current special, or like something's down on the website, and so that we have like this, it's not very fancy like coding, there's like a back-end portal where I just like make edits. So I do that a lot. I make sure our Zillow ads are running correctly, which is always fun, because Zillow is kind of a nightmare to work with, except our rep. We do love our rep, actually. Julia, if you're listening, they could never make me hate you. Let's see, what else do I do? Oh, I do a lot of like design, which I actually hesitate to call design because it is in Canva. I dabble in Illustrator, but it takes so much longer to do anything in Illustrator, and nothing that I do is like high level enough that I need to like really be an Illustrator. So I spend a lot of my day in Canva making like brochures, or like I just made a job post. We're like hiring for like a president of property management, so I like made a job post for that. Or like I design signs a lot, and just random things like that. So I do that a lot, which that's like my favorite part of my job. I love that. And then something that's always really fun is I get to approve or reject all the property's social media posts.
Oh,
so
that's fun.
some of them are really good at, like, they have good taste and they like know what they should be posting as like an apartment community. Some people are like, they have no clue what people want to see from their like apartment community. So they're posting like happy national like polka dot day. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Or there's one property that keeps posting stuff. It's like they discovered like background remover on Canva, and they'll like edit something where, like, there was one on Thanksgiving that was like just a picture of the clubhouse, like a really beautiful fireplace and everything, and then just like a background removed like real life turkey just like in the corner. It made no sense. So out of context. I know. I was like debating, do I approve this or reject it? And so I have definitely developed beef with a couple of on-site employees because I reject a lot of their posts, but it's my job to make sure our properties are all on brand. So if their posts are off brand, then people come to me and they're like, what is this? And so I have to hurt their feelings sometimes. I try to be really gentle about it because it is a creative endeavor, and it can feel really personal when someone has comments on your creative work, even if it's something as like low stakes as a social media post. So I have like really been trying to figure out like what's the best way to give feedback, but also be like firm about like we have an aesthetic that we need to stick to, and like this like bright orange like Canva thing that you just threw together with like a random font is like not really on brand. And so that's actually a fun part of my job, because there's always some like ridiculous post that I get to screenshot and send to my coworkers, and we can say what is happening here. So that's always fun to do. And then what else do I do? Sometimes I meet with clients, not very often. My boss kind of does that, thank goodness, because they can be very challenging to work with. Some of them are great though. And yeah, that's kind of most of what I do.
Do you do a lot of event planning within the communities that you work in for that as part of your
I've
position?
done, I think, just one event for this job. I did a lot of events for my last job. I kind of am trying to like stiff arm the event planning thing at this current moment at work, because it takes so much time to put on a good event, and the stakes are higher in a professional, in this setting than like in a personal like party throwing setting. So there's a lot more details that need to be worked out. Then it just becomes very stressful. But I did throw like a open house for like one of our apartment communities because the client like requested it, and so that was fun. We got like live music and like food and drinks and everything. But yeah, at my old job I would plan like, there was a couple months where I was planning like 3 events a month, and I was like losing my mind because it was so much work and so stressful, and I was the only one working on it. And so I like definitely cried every day at work at my old job because I was so stressed. But I don't cry at work anymore, which is nice. So I think there might be more events in my future at work. Oh, and I did help plan the Christmas party, the corporate Christmas party, which was ideal because it wasn't like, there weren't any like clients that we needed to impress, or like there weren't really any stakeholders. It was just like, let's have a good time. And I was like,
perfect.
We can do that.
Yeah.
I know all the ingredients for that recipe. So it was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say makes an event stand out? And I guess for some context for the audience, you kind of wanted to discuss a lot of event planning because we just had a pretty epic event this New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
That you've been spearheading a personal event,
Well,
not
yes.
through.
Yeah, tell us about the ham party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where that stems
So
from.
ham party. Okay, well actually, I think we need to go back even farther to, I think, probably like 2019. I threw my first New Year's party. I realized, there was a point at which I realized there's a fundamental truth about the human beings, and it is that they want to do something fun on New Year's Eve, for the most part. Obviously, parents are always like tired or whatever. Some people are not night owls, and so some people don't want to do stuff on New Year's Eve. A lot of people really do, though, and there is a severe lack of like actually fun things to do on New Year's Eve, in at least in the towns that we live in. Like, I'm sure if you're in like LA or like Chicago, there's like really cool club things to do. And I think there probably are in Boise too, but I think we could just like do better than that and like have something that's like actually enjoyable and a little bit more like bespoke perhaps to your friend group. And so I threw my first New Year's Eve party in 2019. I realized that people will attend a New Year's Eve party. And so then I just decided this is going to be my thing. And so 2020, actually 2020, probably didn't actually throw a party. No, yeah, I did.
Nice.
We were in Montana, so it was fake. We didn't really follow any rules.
New Year's for 2020
would have been like
COVID
9 months
like hardly
after.
existed.
Yeah. And then 2021, I think, was probably my first like more bigger one. I was living in Billings and had probably like 30 people over to my house. Made a big charcuterie board. I love to make charcuterie boards. And we played like games, and then we did karaoke, and I'm pretty sure I sang All Too Well by Taylor Swift, the 10-minute version, alone.
Wow.
To like 30 of my friends. Because I tried to get my friend to do it with me, but then she was like, I don't know the words. And I was like, yes, you do. But anyways, she betrayed me, and I had to sing it to everyone alone. But it's still a really fun party. And then 2022 was my first year here for New Year's. And I would have been here for like 6 months at that point. And our friend Christine introduced me to our patron saint, Allison Roman, the chef. I love chefs. I love cooking. So I was like completely obsessed with her from the beginning. She's got a great YouTube channel. And on her YouTube channel, she has a video that is of her ham party, which she does. I think she does one every year, maybe multiple. And it's very fun, and like the whole premise is like you just make a really, really good ham, and there's like a really nice spread of like mustard and pickles and rolls, and like you gather and then you make it like a whole event. And so we were like, obviously I was championing we need to throw a New Year's party, and we might as well also just make it a ham party. And it was just such a hit that it's obviously going to happen every year until I die, probably.
It was magic.
Yeah, I think we'll do like different takes on it every year, but the first one was very special. It was a complete hit. This year was also so special and really amazing, and I have some notes on how we're going to make it better next year, which I think we probably all do. But yeah, that's the origins of ham party.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Of course. It's very near and dear to my heart.
Speaking as an attendee, it was a great time. It seemed like it came together beautifully, and you got to host it at one of the properties that you worked at.
Yeah, that's a very clutch move by Roundhouse.
Second year.
Actually, true. Yeah, last year we hosted it at a Roundhouse property too.
So, that's funny.
Yeah, but it was in just a much smaller like community room downtown. The downtown aspect I would like to revisit for next year.
I liked being downtown.
Because then we ran to the potato drop.
Oh yeah, I guess that is the one thing in Boise that is a big thing, but it's kind of hard to get to. It's like you have to have a plan for the night before and then get to the potato right at midnight.
Yeah, you can also just sprint there from the party, which is what Maria did.
Yeah.
So
after playing Rage Cage with champagne.
Yeah, that was crazy. I felt really good the next day.
Yeah.
I guess speaking on that, what would your notes be like for how you put it together this year versus next year?
Yes.
What are the key things you think you'd like to change and keep and
Great question.
move forward?
First of all, this one was a little out of our control. I would like there to just be more people there. I think we all did our best to like invite a lot of people. I was hoping for like closer to like 50 because I think that's like a really nice like full room for a band situation. So that's what I want. I want more people there next year. Things felt a little rushed. I think with dinner did get started a little late, which I should have known and expected. It felt like we were like packed too much into like a short amount of time, and I wanted to feel more like natural, the flow of events, rather than like we have to eat dinner right now because like the band is starting at this time, and like these, and you do have a deadline on New Year's Eve. It's midnight. There's a moment in which you need to have achieved some things, and it's midnight, and so that's just the reality of the evening. But I want it to feel a little bit less like packed and like there's all these things that need to happen. And I think the biggest thing is that the night ended on a cleanup, which I hated. It was a vibe kill because last year we did like a really fast cleanup. The setup was also much smaller last year, but the cleanup was really fast, and then we ran downtown, or we ran to the potato drop, and then we like spent a couple more hours downtown, and so the night ended on high vibes rather than cleanup vibes. So that is, I think, my number one priority for next year is to make sure that does not happen. So there's a number of ways we can do that. One of them that I think would be really fun is getting the band to play at a bar, so that we clean up after dinner and then we go to a bar,
a bowling alley.
Or a bowling alley, also a great idea.
Specifically Westies.
Westies Garden Lanes.
Yeah.
I think that sounds perfect.
Yeah, we'll see if we can negotiate that. If you're listening, anybody from Westies, we've got something for you.
We've got an idea.
I think we just rent out the whole place.
Yeah.
Really, if it's gonna be that big of a group, but yeah.
It's gonna be a bigger group. We're really gonna open up our networks next year. Yeah. I'm gonna demand that everyone bring 10 people next year. You have to be in groups of 10 to get in the door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll see if that actually happens.
I think that could be achieved. I feel like, I don't know, just with how everyone knows each other, I've always been...
But wait, when does that stop? Like, if I
all the boys
bring Jacqueline, does
She has
Jacqueline
to
bring 10
people?
It's like an
and
MLM.
then every person Jacqueline brings needs to bring 10
And it becomes a
people.
huge math problem because all of a sudden we have like 10,000 people trying to get in.
All of a sudden, we have everyone in the world at our party.
But that would be the perfect launching pad for monetizing and making a profit off of Ham Party, which that might not happen next year. Although we did make $9. Well, we did not even break even, to be clear.
We spent more than $9.
We spent more than $9. We paid the band $100.
Yes.
Their first paid gig.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
still in the event,
by the way.
the band has not been paid yet.
We're just
well, I'm
holding
band
it there.
manager, so technically.
Oh, okay. That
We're
makes
trusting
sense.
Maria with it, and then once we need to buy more XLR cables, we'll reach out to Maria and she'll release the funds for us.
I was thinking about just getting an envelope and writing band fund on it, and then putting $100.
I think that's a really good idea. Or you should get $101 bills. So it feels
yeah,
so
yeah,
money.
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it feels abundant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you think you'd like to go more? Well, I know you said with your job it was pretty stressful. Could you see yourself doing like more specialized event planning outside of work, like for parties or weddings or like any like big event that's not a corporate event?
Great question. I have thought about this a lot. I think I could. And I think depending on the type of event, I would enjoy it. However, for the most part, I think the reason that I love throwing parties is because I love to be at a party. I love to participate in one. And if you're like planning someone's wedding, you're not really like part of the party.
No. Yeah.
And so I think that I wouldn't love it as much as I love just like planning parties for me to go to.
Yeah.
It's the real reason I'm throwing parties, because I want a party. So.
Yeah, and you get to be there with your friends, and I feel like, I don't know, we can just expect a lot of really great smashing like friend parties from the next couple years from you as well.
Yeah, my birthday this year is gonna be huge. It's gonna be an almost direct copy and paste of the birthday party we were at last night, because it's the perfect night.
Excellent. Different theme though.
Different theme, but we will have a karaoke bus.
That sounds really
karaoke.
Fun.
That was very fun.
Yeah, and we will. The theme is gonna be probably country queens, and kings.
Oh, that's
There's
good.
a couple ways that can be interpreted. It could either be like it's just like a cowboy theme, or it's like you have to dress like a famous country artist.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then all of your karaoke songs have to be theirs.
Yeah. So.
I like that.
Or we said it could be Miranda Lambert themed. And it's just all Miranda Lambert all night long.
Hey, she's got some bangers. That'd be a great night.
Somebody played like 3 Miranda Lambert songs at a karaoke bar we were at last night, and I was like, what is happening?
I love the theming of things. Like, I always find it fun whenever people aren't afraid to like commit to a theme for something.
Yeah.
Like, one of my pet peeves is when people are just like, I just don't really like to dress up. I'm like, too bad. It's a party with a theme. Like, you have to like. Do you want to be a weenie? Like, yeah, it was all, I remember, I don't know, maybe this is like going way too far back, but I remember Halloween dance in high school, and there was this guy who always just like wear a t-shirt that said, "This is my costume," and I was like, that's a cop-out. So I always appreciate when people are like committed to a theme, and you even made
so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun, and like even if you can't figure something out, like there's always going to be other people that can help. Like, you made the Pinterest board for him, which was clutch. I was literally looking at that while I was in Target looking for a shirt for Isaac. I was like, this actually matches pretty well. This kind of looks close.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think that something that I've become more comfortable with in the last few years is like being a little over the top. And because it's just fun, and it's like it's just like one of those small things in life that is just really fun to do, and like there's no reason to not really get into it.
Yeah.
A goal I have for myself is to like try to make a theme really good but also really accessible. That way people don't have to like go buy something new, spend money.
Right.
Some people have very limited closets, and so if they want to commit to the theme, they're gonna have to. But I went to this birthday party last night, and she sent out a mood board, and I was looking at it feeling so intimidated, and I was like, is this how people feel when I send out the ham party mood board? Like, and I was like, do people think that they like have to dress this way, or they won't have fun, or like be allowed to the party? That's not the case. It's like, it's so much more like, let's all get really into this party and like really give it our all, and it'll be so much more fun than like just a random like house party with no theme, because it's like, what's the point, you know?
Yeah. I think it was like really helpful just to look at it and see ideas and like get inspiration, and not, because I'm always scared that like theater background, I'm like, am I gonna commit too much and then show up and like no one else is actually dressed up?
Yeah.
Worst nightmare. Has happened before.
That reminded me when you panicked when I showed up at your house and I was wearing like jeans and a sweatshirt.
I was in my leather pants.
The ham party.
Yeah. Jacqueline was like, "Are you dressed?" And I went, "Nope,
that's so
I am
funny.
not."
Jacqueline, rest assured, if we are ever at a themed party together, I will be committing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. Yeah. You both are very committed to the theme.
Yeah.
Always.
I think you're better at curating a mood board than the mood board for last night's party was chaotic.
It was
kinda
super chaotic. It truly was just like a mood. Like, it wasn't really like example outfits. Because there was like, I mean, there were a few outfits, but it was actually mostly just Harry Styles.
It was Harry Styles, drag, Clueless, Mamma Mia.
Actually, yeah, that's exactly.
A lot
there was
going on.
one picture of assless chaps.
Yes.
Which nobody wore any. Might have been Chapel Roan, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Last night's was a little chaotic. I really try to do the mood board, and I really try to make it for the boys specifically very clear, like, what I'm expecting from them. The hard thing is, on Pinterest, the only, like, fun, like, it's kind of been, like, a velvety thing for the last 2 ham parties. The only, like, fun velvety ones are, like, very clearly gay men in full velvet suits. Which is kind of, I just don't quite think, like, all of our friends vibes necessarily, and so that's a little challenging, but in order to overcome that, I did just go shopping with a couple of our with TJ and Jeff so that they could have some support in picking out a good, achievable but on theme outfit.
Yeah, I think giving options too. Like Maria sent a link to the band because the band wanted to be coordinated. Like the 3 guys in the back, especially, they wanted to all be cohesive. Maria found a shirt. It was like a $10 shirt, right? And it was a women's shirt, but it worked perfectly. And so, so all the men matched beautifully, and it was great. And I think it looked really, really good. Everyone was pretty cohesive.
They did look good. It was cool to see Dawson in a turtleneck, a more like kind of pushing the boundaries fashion outfit.
He usually only wears
utility pants.
I've never seen him wear anything else.
Yeah, he had like a cool jacket too, I think.
Yeah, the train conductor jacket.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So do you have any tips for DIY planning your own big event? Like, let's say you've never done this before.
Man, great question. Let me think. Maybe a good option is like, okay, first of all, I think don't be afraid to commit. I do think a good tip is like, if you are going to invite like a broad group of people, identify a few influencers in this group of people who will commit to coming to the party first. Like a smaller group text. You're like, I'm thinking about having this party. Will you guys all come? I'm going to invite like a bunch of people. They say yes. You have a lot more power for like convincing everyone else to get on board. So that I think is my first tip. Because it's like, if you like send a text to like 15 people and you're like, I'm thinking about having a New Year's party. What do you guys all think? It's very different from like me and Maria are throwing a New Year's Eve party. You're all invited, you know? So it's like, it just kind of changes the narrative and really gets people on board more.
Yeah.
I think outsourcing as much as you can, potlucking, identifying who's good at what. Maria did our cocktails in for our first one, and then she also brought a very important bottle of liquor to this one. The cocktail was much simpler this year. Oh, and you handled the champagne coupes, which was a huge hit, of course.
Great tower.
Yeah.
Good tower.
Outsourcing the ham to Christine, because she's so good at that. The music to Good Morning June. You know, it's like trying to get everyone to contribute their talents is really helpful for putting on a really like multifaceted party that's not just like sitting around in a circle with people. That's my biggest pet peeve, actually, is like when someone's like, we're gonna have a get together party, and then it's just literally you're sitting around like eating chips and cookies in a circle in the living room, and like that's the whole event. That is hard for me, and it depends on the group of people. Some people it's like fun to yap with like that. Sometimes if you like don't know everyone and you're like, I thought this was a party, it's like, what am I doing with myself here? So we need some programming.
Yeah.
We need
so like
event.
kind of an order of events, even if it's not like clear, but maybe an outline of like, these are the things we're gonna do, these are how we're gonna get people engaged. Like you had the dinner plan, and then you had the live music. We did a 10 p.m. midnight for the New Year's part, which I think that was really good.
That was awesome. And can we talk about how you completely read my mind about Auld Lang Syne, because I wanted that song so bad and I never even asked you to do it.
Oh, good.
But you guys did it.
That was
like amazing.
That was one of the things. I think I had brought it up, but then Jonathan was immediately like, "Oh, we need to do that," because I was like, "I don't know if this will be weird or not, or if people know it." But gotta finish out with Auld Lang Syne.
Yeah. Also funny that song is just the same verse for like 4 minutes. It's the same words over and over. I think it's also really important to not get too like focused on like your idea of what the agenda of the night is. Well, I do think there needs to be programming. I think you really need to be able to like read the room. Like, what is the vibe? Like, because at New Year's we did like an impromptu like hour of karaoke, which I thought was really fun. I think we maybe let it go like a couple songs too long, but it was a fun like transition from Good Morning June to like then just like dancing music. It's also a really good idea to have something like, if you're not gonna have a band, which is obviously the main event. At our party last year, we did like a little game like partway through the night, because I think it just is like a nice like sort of like centering moment of like, we're at a party together, we're like doing something all together, and we're not just like aimlessly like sitting around in this room. So I think things like that are fun. Rage Cage is always, if the vibes are low,
Rage
play
cage.
Rage Cage. Always a solution.
That does escalate really, really fast.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I played a version on Halloween where instead of like stacking the cup on the person, you just like slapped their cup out of their way when they're trying to bounce the ball in. It was so fun. I would say only do that if you have like hardwood floors that are easy to clean.
Yeah.
Because the floors were very wet and messy, but
Sounds
it was
so
so
fun.
fun. It was
It does sound
awesome.
really fun.
Oh God, I love Rage Cage.
I feel like an element of chaos makes a party so good.
Yeah, totally. And like to be clear, these parties are occurring like with our church friends. And so there is like a level of restraint that I think like not all parties have, but I still think we're really good at like finding a really like nice, fairly wholesome like space where it's still chaotic, but not like you're gonna wake up in the morning and like feel shame about like doing something dumb, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's nice. No, I don't have an issue with being the center of attention generally, and so I do think that kind of isn't like predisposes me to like being willing to like help set the vibe a little bit. So like if, you know, vibes are low and people aren't like being the party goers that you need them to be, you kind of just have to influence that by being the party goer you want to see, you know? Be the change.
Yeah.
Be the change you want to see in the world. I do think that there are a lot of things about me. I'm just pretty extroverted. I just think that I'm like kind of predisposed to like loving to party. And also I could not do this without the friends that I have here, obviously. If I didn't have like the friends that I have who like are willing to participate in these parties, I wouldn't be throwing them. And they make it so much fun, and I keep throwing these parties because I like spending time with all my friends.
Yeah.
In costumes.
You gotta celebrate. Yeah, it's worth celebrating.
And it's fun to celebrate stuff, like making
Yeah.
a big deal out of things. So I think we had a really good like year and a half of like really throwing. Everyone had like an elaborate birthday party.
It's a bit much.
We kind of toned it down like a little bit, but there's still kind of a sense of like we don't celebrate halfway. We celebrate all the way.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
I appreciate that because I feel like a lot of times, and I know like different people have, you know, weird things about their birthdays depending on like their childhood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like you got one life and you never know when it's gonna be done. So you might as like it's good to celebrate the milestones. Like it doesn't matter if I'm like oh god I'm like getting closer to 30. Like I'm gonna celebrate it. Like it's a really fun thing, and like I don't know. I just appreciate having the community to celebrate and like you know the people around you that are wanting to too. So I think it's good. I think we should celebrate things more.
Yeah. Actually, like probably one of my favorite birthdays was my most recent birthday was because there had been a climbing trip planned on the weekend that was going to be like my birthday weekend. And there was just like not really a way to like get around it. It was like the only weekend this trip could happen, and I don't climb. And so I was like, okay, like fine, we can go climbing, but it's still my birthday weekend. But I didn't like really plan anything. But then Maria and Dawson both surprised me with rosé, and Dawson he took it upon himself to buy me a cake from Whole Foods.
Oh.
And he was being so shifty and shady about what was in his cooler.
So
kept being like, Dawson, I need somewhere to put this meat or like this beer. And he's like, my cooler's full, it's full. He wouldn't let anyone look in it. It was just a full cake from Whole Foods, like this big. And then they surprised me with it, and it felt so special because it was like I didn't have to do any of the party planning, and they still celebrated me because we've built this culture of like we are having birthday parties.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And then everyone was still down to do like a birthday festivity for me the next weekend too, because I had made the concession of going to City of Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
But it ended up just being such a wonderful weekend.
It was.
Even without my birthday. Highly recommend a City of Rocks trip. We will be going again.
Yeah. And we stopped to get dinner at Olive Garden, and where even was that?
Twin Falls.
It was
Twin
so
Falls,
fun.
Idaho. Yeah.
Jonathan brought in, because he obviously brought wine, and he brought it into Olive Garden and had them uncork it for us.
Did they have a fee for that?
Yeah, it was $10.
Yeah.
The waitress was so confused.
That's so funny.
We were like, we brought our own wine, and she was like, oh, cool, okay. And then she like went to the back, and she came back, and she goes, so I just found out like I do have to charge you a corkage fee. And we were like, we know.
Yeah.
But I just think that goes to show that people in Twin Falls are not taking advantage of bringing their own wine to Olive Garden and the joys of that.
Yeah.
Also, I think we had like car temperature white wine.
Yeah.
In the middle
The hot
of summer.
wine.
Yeah. Oh, okay, totally unrelated. Jacqueline, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I need a singing tip
Yeah.
because I love karaoke so much. I'm not a good singer, not a natural born singer, but I love to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that whenever I'm doing karaoke, I'm just yelling
Mm-hmm.
into the microphone instead of
Mhm.
actually singing. So
Yeah.
do you have any helpful tips for how to sing under pressure and not just yell when you're afraid?
Well, I will say the yelling can be good. Like, yelling is part of singing.
Okay.
I would say, and you kind of have to like take a deep breath before you do this and like be very relaxed. Like, you need your abs to be relaxed. You need your body to not be like clenched and tight. It sounds so silly, but if you can feel it up here more, like, so let's say you're still yelling.
Feel what?
Feel the resonances of like when you're singing. If you feel like
What?
the resonance is up here a little bit more and less coming from down
Third
here,
eye.
even though you're still like yelling, like I'm gonna get away from the mic, so I'm gonna give you an actual exercise.
Yes,
So
perfect.
instead of being like, "That's my Barbie," you would be like, "That's my Barbie," and like you put it in your nose more, so you can belt, but
Oh.
it's higher, and so it's still like full. You're not like flipping and be like, "That's my Barbie." You're, "That's my Barbie." I don't know if this is doing anything blocking the microphone.
I'm not cutting this out.
Okay.
You can't. This should be the
But-
cold open.
yeah. But I think that's a great way to like get the flow more. You got to take deeper breaths.
Okay.
But then also, bring it up so it's lighter, and then you can just sing higher, and it'll feel a little bit more effortless. And you gotta like just be like, really. I'm making a really weird face like this, but you have to like kind of feel it up here to like hit those notes
Interesting.
sometimes,
Very interesting.
and you're not having to like get it up there like
Yeah.
that, because I used to sing like that too. I'm not a natural born singer.
I feel like it comes from here when I'm
Your voice
singing.
is incredible, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I was bad until probably I was like 21 or 22. I
What?
couldn't like I could sing, I could hit notes, but it was very like tension ridden until
Yeah.
I learned to release.
So you're telling me I could become a good singer?
I think everyone can become a good singer. It's a muscle.
I used to say that I would give up my fertility to become a singer.
I don't.
be
I think
able
you
to
can keep your
sing.
fertility and be a singer.
That was also back when I was pretty sure I didn't want kids. I don't think I would maybe
That
make that
was
sacrifice
a hilarious
anymore.
thing to say.
I think you can have
It's a
both.
crazy thing to say.
It's crazy.
I just always, as we've discussed, I don't hate being the center of attention. And I've always thought singing well in front of a crowd must be like the highest high you could ever achieve.
I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things where like I can tell, like I'm like I feel like I'm being annoying, but damn, I love whenever like I do
Yeah.
a song well and people are like, wow.
Well, it's
It
not.
does feel nice.
Yeah.
It does.
And also, it's like not just enjoyable for you, like it's enjoyable for everyone.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
rest assured, we enjoy when you are the
Oh,
center of
well,
our
thank you.
attention singing.
I will say, so like this is just kind of on the hobbies thing, like as an adult, if you have disposable income, you can take lessons for whatever you want. So even if you just want to be a good singer for karaoke, you can take voice lessons. There are really good people in Boise that could teach you like how to sing, and then you could just like blow everyone away.
Well,
Because if you
Maybe
have
I'll
the
ask for
ear,
that for my birthday from everyone. Instead of doing a karaoke bus, I'll ask for everyone to pitch in for my birthday
voice
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 lessons, and then
lessons?
next year we'll do karaoke,
Yeah.
and I will shock everyone. Or I'll just watch YouTube videos or something.
those are good.
Maybe
too.
I'll start
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know that girl who that lady who takes little kids driving in her car and they
Mhm.
sing? I love her videos. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
why I
nice.
keep getting them. But...
She's been on my feed too. I
Uh-huh.
like her a lot. That's
Okay,
so
perfect.
funny.
Okay, well, thanks for that tip, Jacqueline. I'm really excited to explore the world of becoming a good
I'm so
singer.
excited for you.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a muscle. Everyone, as long as you have an ear for it, and I've heard you say you have an ear, you can match pitch. So I feel like everyone can sing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally perfect.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll practice in the car on my ride home, but I'm giving you a ride, so
Oh, yeah.
You should still do it.
Maria and I are gonna do the Barbie practice together.
That's my Barbie. There's some really good ones in there, but the Barbie one really gets you up in the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess as far as other events coming up, so birthdays are obviously
Mhm.
on the docket.
Yep.
There has been talk of planning a forest festival, right?
The
Music
forest
festival.
rave,
Yeah.
yes.
What would how does that come together in your mind? I mean,
Well,
we barely talked about it, but
yeah.
just
That one's
added
interesting because it's Jonathan's brainchild.
Yes.
However, I am here to help execute.
Yeah.
Should
he'll
he
need help.
But yeah, no, I would love to see the forest rape happen. I'm not sure it's happening in 2025, but maybe we'll see. Actually, and also going back to your question about if I would ever do this for work, I have said that I have this idea of doing like secret pop-up parties where it's like people join a list and then they get texted the location of a party for like 24 hours in advance or like 12 hours in advance and the theme. And I was like, this is perfect. We're going to do this in Boise. We're going to like build a reputation. Everyone's going to want to come. It's going to be exclusive. Like we're going to sell out, create some like sense of scarcity. I was on Instagram this week. Someone is already doing that in Boise.
What?
Yes.
How are they executing that?
I don't know. It's called Under the Trees.
Did you sign up?
No. Because I'm mad at them.
Yeah, fair.
For stealing my idea.
They're your competition, so.
Yeah. So, but I think they lean more like rave. And I don't know. I've never been to a rave. I don't think it's really my scene. And so maybe there's still a niche for us.
I feel like you could go like the classy, exclusive route. Like I'm picturing like, I don't know, kind of like Thick as Thieves-esque. Like more underground.
Yeah.
That
classy vibes. That way, like, it's a different thing than a rave. Because I don't know if I'd want to go to, like, a pop-up rave.
Honestly, a great dinner party, underrated.
Ooh,
I love dinner parties.
Yeah.
But instead of, like, it's exclusive for, like, all of Boise, it's just, like, exclusive in the friend group. And it's, like, I pick a random 12 people. And if you don't get invited, you're not invited.
Yeah, pop-up dinner party's hard.
Every other month, it's just 12 different people. Of my choosing. Or I have a random number generator. And I just pick.
Our names are on like a wheel.
And we have the night of our life. And I get to go to all of them, obviously.
Right.
But not everyone else does.
I think I have an addiction to my phone.
Yeah.
Same.
Like bad. And I keep opening things and not even realizing I'm opening them. It's just like a constant habit. And like I don't even like Facebook. And like I find myself on Facebook.
Me too.
Same. I love Marketplace.
Yeah. And I'm always like, oh, I'm just keeping it because of Marketplace.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I said at one point, I was like, I'm just gonna, once I get married and I can post my wedding photos, I'm deleting Facebook. And then I'll be off after that.
Oh, yeah, that's smart.
If it weren't for Marketplace, I honestly would have deleted mine by now.
Yeah. I wish you could have like just a Marketplace app and not have to have Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening.
Yeah. That's what we want. That's what the people want.
Should we just create like a group burner account?
We keep doing that. We're on the same page.
That was a little freaky.
We need to stop.
That was a little freaky.
That's like the fourth time.
Don't cut any of them. It's crazy.